A family records the amount of milk used every day for 4 days. The table shows the results. How much milk in gallons does the family have left after 4 days if they started with 1 gallon of milk? All right, let's use our raise strategy here. So we have read the problem. Good job, us. I'm going to read the problem again. And then we're going to, as I read it, we're going to think about what information is important and what is this asking. We're also going to be looking for academic vocabulary. All right. A family records the amount of milk used every day for 4 days. The table shows the results. There's the table. How much milk in gallons? Oh, let me get ready to underline. How much milk in gallons does the family have left after 4 days if they started with 1? Okay. So what we're trying to figure out is how much milk is left. How much do they have? And we know that they started with 1. Okay, so they started with 1 gallon. I'm also just going to highlight this table. I don't really think that we're going to need to know that it's 4 days other than that we see 4 rows in the table, 1 row for each day. I also really don't see academic vocabulary in here that I need to be thinking about. We don't need to convert gallons to anything. We're starting with gallons and ending with gallons, so I don't need my formula chart. Okay. All right, so this looks like a straightforward subtraction and addition problem to me. We read it, we know what it's asking, we found our key information. Let me think about my strategy. Let's see, I started with 1 gallon, and then I need to subtract from that gallon. I need to subtract what we drank on day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4, right? So this is just a multi-step problem where first I'm going to need to add day 1 plus day 2 plus day 3 plus day 4 and subtract that from 1 gallon. So I've made a plan here. Now let's look at the values that we have and what we notice about them. So they're all fractions. We could turn them into decimals if we wanted to, but I want to point out that all of these fractions, the denominators are all factors of 16. So we have 16, we have 8, 8, and 4. 4 is a factor of 16, 8 is a factor of 16, and of course 16 is a factor of 16. So that means it'd be very easy in this case to get a common denominator. It would actually be hard to turn these into decimals, right? 3/16 is a decimal. We'd have to do some real work to get that. So we're going to keep these as fractions. So the strategy I'm going to suggest here is to use equivalent fractions. I'm also utilizing a problem-solving plan, right? You can see my plan right here. This is my plan. All right, so I've made a problem-solving plan and I'm using equivalent fractions. Those are my strategies. All right, so let's get these equivalent fractions set up. We want a denominator of 16 for all of them. So day 1 is ready to go, 3/16. Now let's think about 3/8. We want the denominator to be 16. 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 2 is 6. So this is going to be 6/16. 1/8. We know we're multiplying times 2. That's going to be 2/16. Now what about 1/4? Okay, 4 times 4 is 16. So I'm going to multiply my numerator by 4, and I've got 4/16. Great, now let's substitute these values into our plan. I'm also going to rewrite 1 gallon. I'm going to write that as 16/16 because 16 over 16 is 1 whole. All right, so we've got, let's see, we're going to subtract. Day 1 was 3/16. Didn't have to change that one. Day 2 was 6/16. And so on. All right. Order of operations would tell us to do our grouping symbol first. So let's do that. 3 plus 6 plus 2 plus 4. That's 15/16. So we have 16/16 minus 15/16. That's going to be 1/16. Do we see that as an answer choice? Yes, we do. It's right there. Now let me ask you a question. If somebody chose answer choice A, what was their mistake? That's right. If somebody chose answer choice A, then they added up all of the fractions correctly and they did not subtract from 1. So they were almost there. So be sure to have a problem-solving plan when you're doing a multi-step problem like this. In this case, our problem-solving plan, knowing that we were doing 1 minus the sum of day 1, 2, 3, and 4, that prevented us from making that mistake for letter A. And we got 1/16. We're correct. There's 1/16 of a gallon of milk left.